Legendary assassination in Paris, 7th of November in 1938. The real beginning of the World War II was an assassination similarly to the cause of the World War I. The long period of waiting for revenging the attacks of the Turkish-Jewish alliance against the Christian Europe after Hungary had lost in 1514 made the Austrian hatred against the Jews in such an extent that the Austrian Hitler, winning the German Chancellor title, the highest political power over the whole Germany, began to plan to kill out the hatred Jews at the first time he had a chance. This chance came when a young Jewish pupil committed a mistake in Paris. Legendary assassination, November 7, 1938. The real beginning of the World War II. Title: Just like in Sarajevo. The rain in Paris on November 7, 1938, was a cold, indifferent mist that clung to the wool of Herschel Greenspan's coat. He was 17, thin, and possessed by a quiet, desperate fire. In his pocket rested a 6.35 mm revolver, in his heart, the echoes of a letter from his sister, detailing the expulsion of his family to the bleak borders of Poland. He walked toward the German embassy at 78 Rue de Lille with the weight of 1,000,000 displaced souls on his shoulders. He was not just a boy, he was a reaction. Inside the embassy, Ernst vom Rath, a junior diplomat with a penchant for art and a complicated relationship with the party he served, was called to the front desk. He expected a routine inquiry. Instead, he met the gaze of a young man whose eyes were ancient with grief. "You are a German?" Herschel asked, his voice barely a whisper. "I am," vom Rath replied. "Then here, in the name of the Jewish people, is your document." 5 shots shattered the diplomatic silence. 2 found their mark. As vom Rath collapsed, the air in the room seemed to thin, sucked out by the vacuum of an impending explosion. Herschel did not run. He waited for the gendarmes, his face a mask of tragic resolve. In Berlin, the news was received not with mourning, but with a predatory grin. To the High Command, vom Rath was more useful as a martyr than a diplomat. The assassination was the Sarajevo moment they had engineered the world to reach. Just as the bullet in 1914 had dismantled empires, this lead in the Rue de Lille dismantled the last pretenses of peace. By the time vom Rath succumbed to his wounds 2 days later, the fires of Kristallnacht were already lighting the sky. The gears of mobilization, oiled for years, finally locked into place. The diplomacy of the decade snapped like brittle glass. The world had been a powder keg of treaties and territorial hunger. Herschel Greenspan had simply provided the match. As the first tanks crossed the borders months later, the historians of the future would look back at the small office in Paris. They would realize that the Great War had never truly ended, it had simply waited for a boy in a wet wool coat to pull the trigger once more. Sources: Herschel Greenspan, the Polish Jewish youth who shot the diplomat. Ernst vom Rath, the German third secretary in Paris who died on November 9, 1938. The event, historically known as the precursor to Kristallnacht, though in this narrative, it serves as the direct casus belli for World War II.